Okay. Hi, Pat. How are you?
Hi, Douglas. I'm very good, thank you.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure.
I think you are the first guest we've had on from New Zealand. We've had several from Australia, but I think you are the first. So, congratulations. We should have a prize or
Thank
something.
you. You should. Yes,
Yes.
you should.
What is the time change between you and Australia?
It varies different parts of Australia. It's kind of an hour or a couple of hours in most places.
So, from
So
Sydney to you would
it's
be,
about, I think it's 1 hour, possibly two. It depends on the different time changes, when the clocks change twice a year and stuff like that.
oh, I see. Okay.
Mm.
So, you have lived in Auckland, New Zealand your whole life?
No, no, I emigrated here when I was 59. I just had just decided to. So I dragged the family here and I've been here 11 years. I just turned 70. So,
Really? Wow. I
mm.
would have never guessed.
Thank you. Thank
Well,
you.
when you said I immigrated here when I was 59, I thought, oh, last week then.
Oh, what a charming man. Thank you.
So where did you immigrate from?
From England. I lived
Oh,
all my
oh.
life. Yeah, lived all my life in England, apart from 2 years when I lived in the Fiji Islands when I was in my 20s.
You see, I can't quite tell the difference between a New Zealand accent and a British accent. The Australian accent is very different.
Very different. Well, I have to say, Douglas, that's music to my ears because I want to sound quite Kiwi, because people here think I sound terribly British, so I'm delighted that you can't tell the difference. That's great.
Well, I think that's probably just from being an American and not that familiar with the accent. But is there a great difference to your ears between,
Oh
uh,
yes,
yeah?
yeah, yeah. Although now I've been here for so long, I don't notice the difference quite so much. But when I go back to the UK, well, in the days when you could travel, I noticed great differences then. Instantly I realised I was in a different country.
How different is it from Britain in the sense of the customs? Because I always think of Australia and New Zealand as sort of first cousins to the UK, and the Americans and the Canadians are sort of second cousins.
um, it's it is different. It is a foreign country. I mean, the fact that we all look the same. It Yeah, there's a lot of differences. Oh, obviously, it was founded by Maori, obviously, but then the British came in big numbers and pushed their culture in. So there's a lot of Englishness, Britishness here, um, but people are tending to vie away from that now and want their own completely Kiwi identity, which is quite right, how it should be.
So they don't
Mm.
have probably the embedded sort of class systems that Britain, although it's diminished somewhat in Britain from 100 years ago. But I don't think it was ever installed in Australia or New Zealand, was it?
Well, they say it wasn't, but I have to say, from personal experience, I would say it still is. Not to the same degree that it is in the UK, and in the UK, it's still very, 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 very seeped into the whole thing. Really, no, not as much here. People have more respect for you here if you work hard. They quite like big cars and stuff like that, big houses. So there is an element of that. But yeah, I mean, it's the same as any other society. It's got its same social problems, just not so magnified because the population is so small. I mean, we're like 4.5 million compared to the UK, which is at least 70 million, with a land mass the same size.
And 12 million sheep.
Absolutely,
You know,
absolutely,
I
yes.
heard that 3 to 1, three sheep
Yeah,
for every human.
pretty much, yes. Although you wouldn't know that in the cities, like Auckland is obviously a very cosmopolitan city. But once you go outside, like half an hour outside, yeah, that's true. Very rural.
So you are also an author and you've written how many books? I see
Uh,
three on
I've,
your
I've,
press release.
yes, I've got three, two of my own, and one I've just co-authored, which is just being published. So very exciting. I didn't start writing until last year in COVID. I spent we went into lockdown here in New Zealand on my 69th birthday. So I was pretty fed up because my husband had dumped me a couple of years before. So I was all alone. My daughter was living in London. And so it was a pretty miserable time going into lockdown on your birthday. So I spent the first 2 weeks lying on the sofa, feeling a bit sorry for myself, watching Netflix and eating too much chocolate. uh, and then I thought, Pat, just get a grip. This is ridiculous. Why don't you write a book? So I just got some paper, spread it out all over the house, stayed up day and night for 2 weeks writing. Just the words just came out. And that was my first book, Daisy, which is this one here, which is very exciting. That's a historical family saga. And then after that, and I got it published, and then I thought, why don't I write my memoirs? Because I've had a pretty interesting life. So I wrote my memoirs. They were published in March. And then in between, an author lady I met online said to me that she was wanting to write an anthology about immigrant women, and would I be willing to contribute my story? So I did. And so 22 of us have just written a book called The Warrior Women, which is this one, which was published a month ago now, and within a week hit the Barnes & Noble bestseller list. So that was very exciting. The sad thing is that we should all be together in the States now doing the launch, but of course we can't with COVID. So we're all doing little individual ones, and I'm doing one here next month. But yeah, hugely exciting. And I'm now writing a sequel to my first book, and I've got 3 more novels rattling around in my head. So life's very exciting. I'm going to write now until I die, I think.
Well, that sounds like a great plan. So your first book was called Daisy, you said. What is,
Yes.
Give us a quick synopsis of that one.
Okay, well, it's a novel. It's I call it a gentle family saga because there's not really much violence. Well, no violence really, or sex or anything like that in it. So it's a nice, gentle, easy read. But it's a family saga spanning almost 100 years, and it's set in Alabama, Harlem, and London, and so intertwines the lives of different families from those. I think the underlying theme is that whatever our circumstances of birth, whether we're born rich, poor, black, white, we're all equal. And so without realizing it, when I started writing the book, I didn't realize that was kind of a theme that ran all the way through it. But I guess that really is what I believe. So as a person, so I think the fact that that's come through in my writing, and does seem to in everything I write. Yeah, that's it really. I don't want to tell you too much, Douglas, because then people won't bother to buy the book if I tell too much of the story. But it's got some great reviews on Amazon. People do seem to enjoy it.
You know, I'm happy to hear you say that, because there are 2.4 million podcasts registered in the world right now, which I think is an obscenely large number of people. But one of them that is common, that I've seen all over the place, are authors who will do a podcast and interview other authors, and they will sit and talk for 2 hours and dissect their books chapter by chapter by chapter. And if you can even get through the 2 hours worth of podcast, you're right, you have no interest to buying the book because you feel you've already read it after they've done that. You know, there's a reason why movie trailers are only 1 minute long, is because they just want to tease you with it, so you'll go watch the film.
Yes, so, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't like to cover too much of the book either, so thank you. I'm glad we're on the same page with that idea.
That's great.
The one thing I did want to ask you, though, is it seems like the 3 books that you have out are all completely different genres. Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Daisy is obviously what I just explained. My memoirs are my life story, which is, it's pretty good. Heaps of ups and downs and different venues and stuff like that. And then the last one I wrote is we've obviously all 22 of us have written like a little précis of our immigration stories. So basically starting from childhood until now, and all our emotions and stuff in between. But It's really interesting because we're all quite different women. Most of them are incredibly high-powered doctors and things like that. So at first I said to Yeshena, the lady who's done it, who's edited it, "Are you really sure you want me? You know, I'm just this little ordinary white girl. Most of the others are black ladies or Indian or Chinese or whatever." I said, "I'm kind of a bit insignificant compared to all of you. But when you read our stories collectively, it's absolutely fascinating because although we've all come from different countries, we've totally different lifestyles, there is a huge common thread that runs between all the stories. So yeah, very well worth reading, and a nice little coffee table book. You know, that's how we designed it. We all had to have professional photo shoots, which actually made me almost pull out of the whole project when they said that, because I loathe having my photograph taken. I mean, I'm studiously avoiding looking at my picture on screen here because I really don't enjoy it. So when they said we had to have professional photo shoots, I kind of went, no, I'm too old. I don't want to do this. You're all so young and glamorous. But they all persuaded me, and actually it was great fun. After 3 hours, I'm kind of going, oh, yeah, I can do this. And so the book is also full of very beautiful photographs of all of us. And obviously a lot of the ladies, because they come from Africa, they're wearing these beautiful, beautiful traditional dresses and things like that. Mine are a bit boring in comparison, but yeah. Sorry, I've waxed a bit lyrical about that because it's my latest project and I'm very excited. And I've made 21 new friends by doing it. So we just can't all wait until all the borders open and we can get together and celebrate properly.
Well, how difficult is it for you to get to the United States? Because I don't think we're shut down.
No, it's not impossible for us, but it's getting back into New Zealand.
Oh,
If we go away, because our borders are effectively closed, so the only people that can come in are citizens or permanent residents. But if you choose to go away, when you come back, you have to go into 2 weeks government quarantine, which you have to pay for, which is about 3,000 New Zealand. So I don't know, 4,000 American, 2,000, whatever. And it takes, you know, it's not great. My daughter came back from London in November and she had to do it. And it's, you know, 2 weeks stuck in a hotel room on your own is not great. I could cope because I live on my own now and I've got my writing. So for me, it wouldn't really be a hassle, but it's not really a viable thing. And certainly our government aren't encouraging us to go anywhere.
well, I think number one, having to pay for it would be a drag. Being locked in a hotel room for 2 weeks might give you some time to write. However, being stuck in there like that, no, I don't think it's worth it. I think hook up online and do something remotely is probably just better.
Yeah. Well, we've got our virtual launch on Sunday, which is very exciting. So we're all of us going to be on Zoom, you know, reading bits from our book and being silly and doing whatever 22 women do when they get together.
Well, great. Well, we do have to wrap this up. We are out of time. Do you have a website that you want to give out?
I do. It's just patbackley.com.
Could you spell that, please?
Yes. www.patbackley.com. patbackley.com.
Great. And there's links to your books and everything on
Yes.
the website? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, Pat.